everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. So it is Thanksgiving, at least here in the US. I know Canada, they celebrate a little bit earlier, and I don't know if a lot of other countries participate in Thanksgiving, but either way, it is Thanksgiving here. And I thought, since it's Thanksgiving and it's kind of family related, I would talk all about my favorite fictional families. Now, I know Thanksgiving is a very historically not so great holiday. The history is horrible, the whole thing about it is horrible, but we're not going to focus on that. Today we're going to focus on family, because Thanksgiving is a lot to do with family. Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending who you are. You could have a lot of loved members pass away, so this day's hard for you, and I'm sorry for that, and I'm thinking about you. Or it could be where you're just not close to your family, or it could be a great time with your family. Either way, Thanksgiving is very associated with family as well as like the holiday season in general. So with that, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite fictional families. Now, what this means really is the books I'm going to show you today have a really strong family presence in them. They are all YA. I hope that is okay. Sometimes with YA books, the family's really there in a lot of the book, or sometimes they don't even exist at all. Like the author does not even acknowledge the family. But today I'm going to talk about a lot of YA books that have that are kind of about family at the core of them, or just have a very strong like family presence, I guess you could say. I hope that makes sense. I think it will continue to make sense with the books I show you, but either way, I really recommend all of these in case you kind of want some heartwarming books. Some of these are really serious, kind of sad. The first series I want to talk about, and the only series really that I think has a really strong family presence, is the Laura Jean series, or All the Boys I've Loved Before. I'm sure you've heard of this series, especially because it was made into a Netflix original movie, which I love and adore. But what I love about this series is I've always kind of compared it to be kind of like innocent. Like Laura Jean's a very innocent and just adorable character, but I love her family. She has a very strong kinship and relationship with her two sisters and her father as well. Their mother has passed away, so you know, that talks a lot about it in the book, how I miss her and how they deal with that, and it just is a beautiful family read. Like, I love the relationship she has with her sisters. It's a beautiful, healthy relationship with siblings that I don't really know anything about, but I just adore this series. If you're looking for something heartwarming that has great love interest as well as some great family like relationships as well, this is a great series to binge and just have your heart content with all of the love that family shares. So adorable. Talk about You'll Miss Me When I'm Gone by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is an underrated YA contemporary book that I love and adore that nobody ever seems to talk about. All about two sisters. They are twins and they're really not close at all. They used to be close, but something has happened to them and they just are very distant. They just live separate lives and don't really talk a lot. They are a Jewish family. Their mother has just been diagnosed with Huntington's disease, so they're really struggling with that. And they decide to take a genetic test. And basically, this is not spoiling it, it's in the book jacket. One of them tests positive for the Huntington's disease and one of them doesn't. So it just really strains the relationship even more. So this is all about sisterhood, where sisters are not really close at all. As the novel progresses, things happen and maybe they do grow closer, but it has a very strong family. This whole book, I think, at the heart of it is about family. We follow each sister individually and we learn about their feelings towards one another. We also learn about how each one of them are kind of closer to one parent over the other, and it's a very beautifully sad book. Like, if you have those books where you love that are YA contemporary, that are fluffy, those are amazing, but I also have some that I love that are just very serious and kind of heartbreaking. This is one of them. I adore it. I highly recommend it. No one ever talks about it, but yeah, it's all about strained kind of sisters and maybe progressing more with like not being strained. I love it so much. Next book I want to talk about is also kind of about sisters, but on the positive side about sisters, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is one of those fluffy romantic YA books that I just adore. It's all about two twin sisters. We actually follow Kath, one of the twins, and they're going into college. They were the bestest of friends and they kind of drift apart when they go start college. One sister is doing really well and meeting new friends and kind of, you know, expanding her horizons, and Kath is doing the opposite. She doesn't ever leave her dorm room, keeps writing Simon Snow fan fiction, and she just doesn't know how to expand her horizons like her sister does. So this book, it does talk a lot about sisters. I don't think it talks about it as much as you'll miss me when I'm gone, but it does have a really strong sisterhood vibe, and they love each other and they care for one another. It's not very strained like the previous book I talked about, but if you want something romantic and lovey-dovey, which has a great sisterhood bond in it, I would highly recommend this one. So I want to talk about probably my favorite like family related YA book, and that is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. I read this last year and fell in love with it. This is all about family. This book is just at the core of it, family. With this book, we follow 3 main characters. We follow Grace, Maya, and Joaquin, and all of them are brothers and sisters, but they really don't know it. So Grace and Maya are the 2 sisters, and they actually have been adopted by different families because all three of these kids were separated at birth pretty much. They're not triplets, but they were all born by the same mother, and they all are, you know, never got to be together at all. So Grace and Maya have been adopted, and Grace basically decides to search for her birth mother, and in that she finds out that she has 2 siblings named Maya and Joaquin. So she decides to reach out to them and message them and learn more about them. So they all get together and they learn about their lives. So like I said, Grace and Maya have been adopted by families that love them very much, and Joaquin has been kind of just going through the foster care system, parent after parent after parent, and never really having anywhere to call home. And the place he's at now is really starting to feel home, but he doesn't know, and he's just kind of feeling envious of his 2 sisters that have been adopted and have a whole new family that he's always wanted. And basically it's all about their relationship and how to figure out the relationship, because they've been brother and sister all along, but they've never known that either like anybody existed. Like, they also decide to search for their birth mother as well, so it leads them on a hunt. This book is just so beautifully sad, honestly. Like, it's a heartwarming book, but it's also heartbreaking because it talks about a lot of different things. It talks about the foster care system, it talks about adoptive parents. There's so many shining stars in this book that make you feel happy, but sometimes it's sad. But either way, it's a beautifully written book. I cannot recommend it enough. If you want something that's just gonna be family at the core of it, this book is perfect for that. Next up, I want to talk about Save the Date by Morgan Matson. I have read all of Morgan Matson's book, and this one is not one of my favorites by her, I will admit, but the reason I am recommending it, especially in this video, is because it is all about family. Out of all of Morgan Matson's books, this one screams family. I feel like all of her books have a big family presence, but this one at the core of it is strictly family. It's all about a girl named Charlie, and she has like 5 or 6 older siblings, and she's the youngest, and sister is getting married, and she's getting married at like their hometown. So all of the siblings are going to be under one roof, and it's been years since that has happened. So it's all about this wedding weekend, and basically this is like a Murphy's Law book. If something can go wrong, it goes wrong in a big way. So I say if you're a fan of the classic like disaster after disaster after disaster movie, this is a great book to read, because it's like the cake falls down, then the dog eats it, then like the power goes out, then da 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 da. It's like, you know, a repetitive kind of cycle of disaster. So I didn't love this book, but I loved the familyhood about it. It was really all about Charlie getting reconnected with her siblings again, with their parents, because their parents are kind of selling their home. At the core of it, it's all about family. So I didn't love it for the fact of the disaster after another disaster, but I love the strong familyhood vibe it gave off. Next up, we have another sad one, because we have to keep sad ones in here as well, and that is The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord. Good Lord, this book made me cry. Not a lot of books made me cry. This one did big time. This follows senior Lucy, and she is going to be a senior in high school. She's the captain of the swim team. She's doing really good with her parents. She's really involved in her parents' church because her dad is a pastor, and they learn that her mom gets cancer yet again. She falls into relapse with cancer, and her world kind of shifts in a blink. She doesn't know what to do because her mom's like her best friend. And basically this takes place during the summer because her dad, like her dad's church, has this Bible camp they have every single summer, and she's a really big part of it, but her mom wants her to go to the camp across the lake. That involves a lot with kind of troubled teens and just things like that, teens that are from broken homes. So she's a counselor there, and it really changes her perspective on things, and she gets to learn about people and meet people and relationships. The strongness of the family in this book, it was a healthy, like, daughter mother-father relationship. Like, it was beautiful. not something I'm used to in my personal life, honestly, but I really loved reading every second about it. It was just a beautiful book. I also love that it was about religion, because sometimes religion in YA books is either like really frowned upon or it's a little bit too over the top with. This one I thought provided a very realistic point of view with Christianity, which I highly appreciated. But this book is very sad because it talks about cancer and your parent getting cancer again, and how do you deal with that? How do you forge that relationship yet again? It's a beautiful book, a lot of sadness, but beautiful altogether. Next up, I have Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This is a Pride and Prejudice remix, and this is all about Zuri Benitez, and of course she has, you guessed it, a ton of sisters, and basically the Darcys move in across the street. You can guess what happens because it is a Pride and Prejudice remix. I love this book for the fact of how close Zuri is to her sisters. One sister in particular she's very, very close to, and how she would do anything for her sisters and her parents. She just loves and adores and admires so much. The family, like the family vibe, I don't know why I keep saying that. Family vibe, it's just so strong in this book. It's about a really strong family that loves one another, that will do anything for one another, that are just really amazing. So yes, this book is mainly about romance because Mr. Darcy, Zuri, all those kind of things, but I love the sisterhood vibe of it. It was just so amazing to read about. The last book I want to talk about today is Little Do We Know by Tamara Ireland Stone. I also love this one, and not a lot of people talk about this book as well. I feel like there's a lot of really hidden gems within the YA contemporary genre. This is all about two next door neighbors named Emery and Hannah, and they are bestest of friends. They've done everything together since like childhood, and basically something has torn them apart and they don't know how to mend the relationship. And it's all about that, yes, about their friendship, but it also is all about their family as well. Hannah's dad is a pastor and she really loves church, but she's starting to feel differently about things, but her relationship with her parents has always been good until this event that happened with Emery, and she's starting to question a lot of different things. Now, Emery, on the other hand, has a single mother, and she has very good relationship with her mom, but another guy kind of steps in, somebody that she thinks is not really healthy for her mom, so she's having to deal with that. So this one is mostly about friendship, but it also has a lot of, you guessed it, family vibes, and if that's not the trend of today's video, it is. But either way, I adored it. Not a lot of people talk about it. I would classify this, yes, as YA contemporary, but like a quiet YA contemporary. Like, I feel like a lot of YA contemporaries are really heavy on romance, where it's kind of a whirlwind of romance, things like that. And then there's some contemporaries that are just quiet, where it's not a really intense plot, but it's just one where it's a lot of character progression and things like that. And I would highly put that, I would put that in that category completely for this book, because I feel like it's exactly that. So it's a quiet type of contemporary, but I loved it nonetheless. There you have it. Those are all of my like favorite fictional families, or just kind of books that have a really strong family presence in them. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's kind of a different video, like a different recommendations video, but either way, I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe, maybe not. You have to let me know. And I hope you have a great Thanksgiving either way. If you're spending with loved ones, if you're not happy to spend it with loved ones, if you've lost loved ones, I'm thinking of you. It's a day for me personally. I reflect on things I'm thankful for in life, because I know a lot of times, me especially, I get caught up on everything that's going wrong in my life and how many things I have to do and how many dead ends I reach in my life, and you know, U-turns or things like that, and I get caught up in those. And then when I take time to reflect on things that I'm actually thankful for, the list is quite a lot longer than the things that are going bad for me, if that makes any sense. So today is a good day for doing that. So that makes sense. But either way, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.